if anyone saw the tweets I had, part of it where it was, I think it was Bitcoin only, Bitcoin or nothing. Part of me, full disclosure, part of it was I was doing just to see how far the chain could go. But as far as, and it may or may not be locked. Okay, good. When I was thinking about this prior to us getting on and thinking about this, when you threw out the invite, two things came to mind. One, breaking it down by having either a Bitcoin strategic reserve or having a crypto or strategic Bitcoin reserve, a strategic crypto reserve. The other one being having both. And then also too, what would be the goal of each? And when I think about like Bitcoin, that is the digital asset that's currently viewed as the reserve asset. When you hear other nation states or people in government entities, they talk about a Bitcoin reserve, whether it's one of the U.S. states. I think I saw today the Czech Republic. I don't know. One of the top people in the Czech Republic was saying, we're looking at strategic Bitcoin reserve because it's got that place and status where in the mainstream that's seen as like the monetary asset. And when I think of a strategic crypto reserve, I remember what Donald Trump said, where he's saying, and I'm going to butcher his voice and imitation, we want to be the leader in crypto and blockchain innovation, the leader in the world. And the thought that came to my mind was, if there were to be a strategic crypto reserve, what would be the purpose and what would be the goal? Like, why would they choose a particular asset, digital asset or a token or a currency to be in there? And two, what is the goal that they're trying to achieve by including that asset? Is it to signal these are the ones that we're favoring? Is it to say, we're all for adoption? So that's kind of the curiosity I have. I don't know if either of you have any thoughts on that. Like, what would be the purpose of the goal of like why they would include certain assets that they would for a strategic crypto reserve?
See,
PC, go ahead, jump in, man.
That's something I think we'll hear more about with he did put a group in charge of studying what assets might make it into a stockpile. But I think the biggest part of that is you have Bitcoin, which has now been correlated to digital gold. We have this set supply that we know it's very similar in a lot of its movements and stability. It's current stability in this bull run to gold and how it's performed. And that's where I think the decision is going to be a lot more Bitcoin focused for now, because you're just now starting to see the massive adoption. And just Bitcoin, you do have the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF for now, but to try to add more in there is going to be, you're going to create more problems than anything else. But the message that you would look at sending is like, who are we going to make rich? And that would be my biggest problem with it. So it's like, if we chose Solana, well, everyone out, 70% of the Solana blockchain is owned by VCs and the team. Do you think they're going to hold that once the government adopts them as a strategic reserve? I don't think they will. They're like, oh, well, this is the money point. We're going to sell off now. And what does that do to the dollar? Demolishes the dollar.
No, so you bring up valid points, and even to some degree, that's how I look at having just Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. Because think about it, you've got Bitcoin solidly, I mean, just huge quantities of Bitcoin being held by ETFs alone. Now take that into a country, FOMO sphere, and now you've got these countries basically having this strategic asset that now they got to consider for national security reasons. What are they doing with this asset? And I worry that we go down the road with Bitcoin, if it's just Bitcoin, being like they did with gold, back in the 30s, I think it was, without having it right in front of me. Yeah, okay, maybe they don't confiscate your gold, but they have control over a crap ton of Bitcoin. If I said gold, I apologize. Bitcoin, maybe they don't get your Bitcoin, but they will have control over a crap ton of it. And couple that with the fact that not only will governments, solid amounts of Bitcoin, but now you've got companies that are controlled by the government, because at the end of the day, these companies that are doing these ETFs are at the whim of the laws that keep getting passed or not getting passed that affect them. Do you see what I'm saying? That's a concern to me, and part of why I'm a little more leaning toward the other end of things. I'll just throw that out there now before we even get down that road. But because, okay, you can't control it all, is my thought process. But you've kind of pigeonholed Bitcoin if we get into this FOMO sphere.